If you are good at art, musically inclined, or like to draw, then why not just follow these 4 simple steps to achieve creative success? Number 1. Constant practice. This is of course the most obvious and by far the most beloved way to compete. There is no easy cheat here, and why would you want to cheat? There's something sacred about dedicating yourself to improving your craft. But keep in mind that every one of your competitors is also doing this all the time, so it won't really set you apart. Number 2, do lots and lots of constant research. And by research, I mean watching endless hours of YouTube tutorials so that you can draw in the same style as all of the other unsuccessful artists. Number 3, go to an expensive art school. And by expensive, I mean a for-profit school that you cannot really yet afford by yourself, so that you can surround yourself with people even more talented than you. This ain't your typical high school art class filled with insecure, acne-faced emo kids who still draw like kindergartners. No one in an art school is going to dote on you for being so incredibly talented. Number 4, create a professional portfolio to both impress your instructors and potential future employers with your amazing talent. Combine this with an empty resume, which you can then show to studios to land a job in the game design, animation, or arts industry, all while competing with the professionals who have much better resumes. And let's not forget that you are also competing with the thousands of amazingly talented young people who are already prolific on social media and have a huge following. But don't worry, you have your one advantage: your willingness to work much, much harder for much, much less. Just nearly, if not entirely, for free. Sounds easy, right? Oh my God, Sean, how can you be so cynical about success in pursuing a creative career? It is possible. I did it. But first, you have to understand that you do not want to compete against everyone else by doing the same thing as everyone else. That is the worst way to be successful as a creative.
I'm Kakashi, the copy ninja. I know 1,000 jutsu, and now I'll live up to my name.
If you want a competitive advantage, find your own unique way, a path that suits your particular strengths and interests. Why not find your own niche or unique market? If you stand out enough and become the king of your own individuality, it is possible that you would not have to beg for work, but people would compete to bring you their work. Do not try to be the best. Be the only. What? Sounds plausible, but not yet convinced, eh? Do I sense a little bit of suspicion? Well, let's address at least 2 of the most obvious questions. Question 1. Why should I listen to you? And by I mean you, and by you, I mean me. Great question, very direct and a little awkward, just like me. So let me give it a very straightforward answer. Firstly, I draw good. I studied at an expensive art school very intensely for 4 years. I worked professionally as an animator, a graphic designer, and a web designer at various different studios in Los Angeles. I worked as a game artist at a puzzle app game development studio in Seoul, South Korea. I worked for several years as a freelance artist on the side, and I have published multiple games for which I myself designed, illustrated the graphics, and handled the business end as well. Those who can, do. Those who can't, teach. Oh yes, that's very clever and very commonly the case, but not so in my case. For further proof of my exceptional design abilities, feel free to see my portfolio at www.seandmcmillan.com. Secondly, I teach well. A lot of artists can do the art, but are terrible teachers. Doing and teaching are 2 distinctly different skills. I taught animation, motion graphics, drawing classes, graphic design, and game design classes at an art college, 2 public high schools, and 2 private schools over the course of 8 years. Not only can I both do and teach, but I learned that the best way for students to learn is for the teacher to simply expose students to great art, provide them an environment in which they feel safe to experiment, collaborate, and fail, and then just get out of their way and stop teaching. Students don't learn when teachers teach. Students learn when students do. But it does help to have a structured, rigorous lesson plan with heavy constraints and a little scaffolding built in that allows for play and self-expression. Which is why I believe games and collaborative art projects are the best way to learn. It's also why, together with my game design students, I developed Alliance, the ultimate world leader political science simulation megagame in which up to 72 participants roleplay as scientists, secretaries of defense, and presidents of 20 different nation-states, and are given 4 hours to solve all of the world's geopolitical problems as displayed on a huge war room map using varied assortment of poker chips, dice, and tabletop board game mechanics. I also traveled all over East Asia running this world peace game simulation at universities in Seoul, South Korea, Singapore, Taiwan, Malaysia, and Canada. So yeah, I think you can trust me. Next question. Question 2. Why shouldn't my creative kid just learn from YouTube for free or take someone else's much cheaper online classes? What makes your classes so different? Again, great question. I think your kid should learn from YouTube. Online tutorials are great. I use them all the time. But they usually only teach you technique. The better videos teach the underlying principles and even do it pretty well. So yeah, let them learn from YouTube. Or pay for the much better online video courses if you like. If your kid has the passion and the self-discipline to teach themselves through online video, then by all means, let me get out of your way. The internet gives you all the tools and resources you could ever possibly need. There's a million different paths that you can take. What you need is not more video resources or even better quality resources. What we need is a little guidance on how to navigate all those tools and resources. You don't want 1,000 paths. What each creative kid wants is to discover the one path that will help them become the king of their own uniqueness. I have no doubt that your creative will continue to develop their craft and build their skill. But will that be enough to help them secure financial stability, build connections within the community, and lead to collaborative opportunities? To do this, it helps to have a map, some navigation skills, and some initial guidance and coaching along the way, and some collaborative art projects to help them build connections within a community. I'm not offering any kind of typical online course in which you buy access to a bunch of videos, watch a couple hours of instruction, then give up before even getting through it all. If you want the same results as everyone else, then please feel free to do the same thing as everyone else.
And now I'll live up to my name.
But if you or your creative kid want to exceed expectations and run circles around the competition, be a pirate, not a copycat. Join a crew at the Alternative Art Academy, bestclassever.org. We believe in combining the clever 3 C's of piracy. Rigorous online art tutoring by a creative career professional to introduce the underlying principles of great art and at least a basic practice of the skills I call force multipliers, which includes but is not excluded to healthy mental models, personal finance, behavioral economics, spreadsheets, and time management. A community to cultivate healthy, professional, peer relationships which will provide the network benefits and emotional supports needed for long-term success. And last but not least, collaborative art projects to learn teamwork, test their newfound skills, and create an impressive portfolio. The sea of the unforeseeable future is filled with uncertainty. There we must face the many-headed Hydra monsters like the social media super squid or the cosmic horror of Lord Cthulhu's constant competitive pressure to compare yourself to others. We must also face the sea dragon of self-doubt, also known as imposter syndrome, the inner critic, or constantly belittling yourself, and the unnecessary anxiety induced by this lazy leviathan of self-loathing. May you be one of those fortunate few shining with the self-confidence who realize that these are merely mythical creatures conjured up only by our imagination. Let's build a sound ship and sail out beyond the red waters into the big, beautiful blue sea. To get ahead of the curve, we must ride the waves of ever-changing opportunities. So unsheathe your sword, fight the good fight, because you, my friend, like me, are a pirate. To learn more, fill out a few simple questions so that we can suggest the next steps based on your unique situation. Or watch a couple more videos in which we introduce even more worse ways creative kids can win.